All right, here are some partnering details for the sugar push. We'll start with the leader section first. Now we are going to line up in the slot like we always do, but this time because she is not passing us, we're not going to move off onto the sides. We're going to stay there because we are in essence blocking her from passing us and sending her back where she came from, okay? So here we are, left hand connected like we always do. We're in our third foot position like we always are. What we're going to do is we're going to lead with our body on count 1. We're going to offer our right hand in the same location as our left hand, the same distance. It's not out, it's not in, it's right in front of us, just like the left hand is. When we offer this, that's sharing with the follower that they are going to put their hand in mine when they reach it, okay? So I'm offering this hand on 2. Now what's going to happen is she connects with me, and on the 3 and 4, we send her back. 3 and 4. Okay, so you'll notice that my 3 and 4, I'm using my triple step in order to change her direction and send her back where she came from. So let's look at that again. It is 1, offer the hand, 2, change the direction, and then we do our anchor step. Anchor step. Now what you'll notice from this is that as I'm moving, she's coming toward me because I stop moving. She's going to reach me, and then I'm going to send her back. As she's going back, there's almost an echoing effect. She's going to go, and then I'm going to slightly delay as I move into that direction as well. Everything is not happening at the same time. We're going to show you what this looks like when it happens at the same time, so that you recognize that that's not what we're doing. So we're
not our preference.
This is not right. This is not what we think of as our preference at all. So this is wrong. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. You can notice that we just kind of moved as one entire unit together. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to be redirecting her, so that means I've got to wait for her to reach me. So you'll notice when we begin this, I go 1, I'm almost stretching away from her a little bit. Now on my 2, I'm not going to take a big step, or she'll never reach me. So it's a small step. Notice she's starting to get closer to me. I've offered the hand, she's connected. On the 3, you'll notice that we're now close to each other. 3. Then I send her back where she came from, and on the 4, I'm going to release the hand as she drifts away from me. We land on the 4, and look at our spacing again. We're far apart from each other again, okay? So watch this again in action so that you can see how she gets to me, and then I send her back. And by the way, this is your first time to deal with this kind of redirection, so we're going to be a little specific here about this and let you have some time to play with it. So here it is. 1, offer the hand. She gets closer to me. I send her back. I release that hand, and now we're stretched back out again. Okay? So when we do this, one of the things that happens is we're relaxed when we're in opposition of each other, which means that we're stretching away. But when she gets close to me, if I kept my hands relaxed, they would go behind me. I don't want my arms to go behind me. This is a very compromised position, not to mention the fact this is what would happen to the follower if I left them relaxed. We don't want this. You'll notice in our videos, we give you lots of what we don't want so that you know what we do want. It's kind of a joke, but it's good, you know, because a lot of times we could explain it and you might not know what we mean. So we're going to show you. Bad. Here we go. So I'm going to relax and you're going to see what happens. 1, 2. She would just run into me. See, we're behind. She cannot get away from me. So what we need to do is
don't use that as a strategy.
That is not a strategy. Yes. Okay. So what's going to happen here is on count 2, moving into count 3, we're going to connect. We're going to have both of our hands. Imagine that this is a wall. However, it is a flexible wall. Okay, so we do have to create some type of resistance here for the follower to connect to, or otherwise we can't rebound, all right? So we have to create it, but what we don't want to do is make it so hard that she hits it like a brick wall. We need it to land, there's wall, but then it flexes some, okay? So can you see that? When it connects, and it is flexing, but I am creating some resistance so my arms don't flex and flow right behind me, okay? This is one of those things that's going to take you a little while to get familiar with and comfortable with. And there are different ideas on how you can get better at it. But just in the beginning, just recognize, create the wall, let it flex ever so slightly. All right? So here we are. 1, offer the hand. Create the wall. She starts building into it. It flexes a little bit. I send with my body back, release that hand, and now we're ready for our anchor step. Anchor step. So, in doing this, the most important part when you're learning sugar push for the first time as a leader, it is this idea of connecting and building that soft, flexible wall and being able to send her back out without it being so harsh, because no one's going to want to dance with you if they keep running into a brick wall. So be careful with that. Now, I would like to also suggest to you that when we're doing this, we're going to be sending her with our body, not the arm. So what I mean by this is, in fact, I'm not going to connect with her for this, just so that I can show you. The idea of doing the triple step to redirect is really the most important part here in the movement of our body. 1, 2. If I stop, and you'll see my body stop, and I just triple in place, there's nothing that flexes there. That act of going back slightly on 3 allows that flexibility in the wall, and then I can step forward with my spine, and that's the redirect. So watch it. 1, 2. Here's that slight back with that left foot. 3. Now on my forward step on the and, it is in place, but look at my spine moving forward before. It is that moving of my spine that sends her, not a push with the arm. And it's one of the problems actually with the term sugar push. That's the name of the pattern. We don't want to change that name for you guys, but we want you to be aware that we don't want to push anything. We want to send with our spine, and she will react to that. So now when we put that together, I want you to pay attention to my spine doing the action, not the arms. What does that mean? The spine moved first. Watch. 1, 2, 3. My spine's moving. Notice my arms haven't pushed forward yet. My spine moved forward, but my arms didn't. The opposite, so this would be wrong, would be for the arms to go, but the spine didn't. See how that's bad? So that's why we tell you, push is not really the right word for this. So from this position, I'm going to step over with my spine, and that's going to send her out. And then we can keep this nice and relaxed after that, okay? Oh, that is a lot of information. But here's the deal. Don't worry about getting all this at first. These classes are really more of a reference tool. So once you work on a part, you can go back and listen again, and you can take the next piece and you can start working on it. So one step at a time until you get there, okay? So leaders, for me, those are your big ticket items.
And they are big ticket items. I would just kind of remind you guys, and this is going to help my followers as well, that we still have the idea of splits and commits. So within our concepts,
yes.
We kind of describe that, but I don't want you to lose sight of it. So what do I mean by that? Leaders, if you watch the placement of what he's doing, you'll see commit, commit, split, split, commit, split, split, commit. And I'm highlighting the split position that he was discussing on that back action on the 3 and. So ultimately you can see with these splits and commits, it actually allows us to get our spines in the correct positioning. As the reminder, split weight can be 50-50, could be 60-40, I could be more 70-30, you could be all the way to 90-10, and it's still in the region of split position. So you'll notice split position will kind of help and encourage you to do what you need to do through your spine. So leaders, splits and commits, but followers, same thing for us. So if we kind of segue to the followers and we focus primarily on the splits and commits at first, you'll notice I go commit, commit. Right here is where we tend to shut down and don't do anything at all, right? We tend to be, oh, you know, my leader started stopping, so maybe I should too. Nope, object in motion stays in motion. So I don't want to stop myself. I don't want to stop until I hit that cushioned wall, right? I like the cushioned wall. So I'm going commit, commit, split, split, commit, split, split, commit. So I'm just encouraging you to keep moving into that 3 and to not shut it down. We kind of see that a lot. We see that the followers, and again, this is not at all what we want, but it's tempting, right? Is that my leader stops and we start going like this. Because we know that we're supposed to go back, but we got there way too soon. So hit the cushion wall, then we move back. Now, how do I know that I have arrived at my cushioned wall? It's in the frame. Now, what's important about the frame is making sure that my elbows are not tucked in and underneath me to where everything is in a defense position. I'm a big fan of keeping that more open. So if you think about it kind of more from a chest fly position, I want to keep this with a more circular feel. You'll notice that in general, we will never want the elbows to get behind us. So if we think about keeping our elbows in front of us, which is way safer, by the way, this is why the rotator cuff is our #1 injury in partner dancing. Followed by a close knee, but yeah, rotator cuff. And we don't want to let ourselves get vulnerable. So you'll notice that I keep my elbows in front, and when that connection happens, I've gotten the memo because I didn't release it. Now, I'm not straight arming it either, because that's the other side, right? Sometimes we're like, well, I don't want to get hurt, and so I'm going to go play defense. Well, this actually kind of jams you up, and it's very jarring to you, but it's also jarring to your leader. So in general, I just want to maintain my frame. And when my frame arrives, because my spine did, everything's staying connected. So I'm not trying to disconnect anything. Which brings me to another point, that when I see the hand, that doesn't mean I need to already be there. I will get there when I get there. This guy, he knows. I'll be ready when I'm ready. So as I'm moving, he offers, but I'm going to get there when I get there. So there is no sense of me reaching. And I'm going to show you that because sometimes we see a hand and we go, oh, immediately we spring into it as if we were supposed to already be there. But we don't need to be. So I don't want to go, oh, I got it. Because all it did was change my rate of motion, and it made it look and feel very kind of jarring and not very connected.
It pulled her posture off because she reached for it.
So we want to always maintain the posture because I always want to be in a position of being balanced. So the final thought from me on followers would be watching our spacing and being aware of getting back to where they sent us, right? So what does that even mean? Well, I have got 2 full commits forward, a tiny split forward, and then I really get 1 replacement, but then I only have, what, 1 step to get back to where I started. So a lot of times in the classes, I love having my props. I've got cones and coasters and you just name it, right? So I like to put something out, and this is a good way for you guys to drill it, is to have something that you can visually see as a point of reference, and as I go through this, to make up the distance to get back to the same point. So we want to be aware that if we do several sugar pushes in a row, it is very easy to start drifting across the floor if we don't make up the difference. So we're going to show that to you. If we went walk, walk, triple and small, anchor, then we do another one, triple and small.
And we'll be off camera.
And we'll be off camera. Bye guys. So, you know, you can imagine if you're in a crowded situation on the dance floor, we don't necessarily have that luxury to drift that much anyway. So notice that the goal, for leaders too, great way to practice, is to make sure that we go back to the same spot that we started in. And that way we could do 1,000 of these, and we don't need to worry about drifting into the couple that's behind us or into a piece of furniture if you're doing this at home. So, you know, things to keep in mind, we watch our spacing.
So followers, if you're going to take that larger step to get back in order to get back to where you started, there's a way that you can do this and still maintain your balance and your control. And the way you do that is in your step back with the 4, you can drag the toe of the foot in front in order to control it. If you don't use that action, what tends to happen is you get ready to take that step back. And so if I show this to you, if I went 1, 2, if I don't use it, 3, and you tend to fall, and then you'll want to float. So then we can't get into a nice anchor step. By dragging that foot the way that she does it so amazingly, you will notice it's a drag of the foot, and that controls your descent into your anchor position there, okay? So that's a big secret that you can put in there to help control into that anchor.
There you guys go, partnering details for our sugar push.